we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means, on infiltration instead of invasion, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. There is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive.
All right, welcome to episode, 175 or some such thing. It is I, your host, Coffee Long, coming to you unsupervised, unmedicated, and an unchecked threat to society. Dude, it is early. It's early and it sucks, and I'm going to the airport, like always, as you do, as one does. So I got a couple of items. I got a couple of hot tip items that I want to lay on you. I think, sometimes I'll put out some stuff that's really like, this is like, there's not a lot going on here, man. But there's plenty going on. But there's some stuff that I had been thinking on a little bit, and I wanted to kind of lay on you, especially vis-a-vis this Patriot Front thing that has gone on. And I guess even the Charlie Kirk thing, where it's become like this sticking point of like, what are you, nuts? What are you, crazy? You listening to the Colored Broad, or what's the story here? So we'll get into some of that. First, I guess, real quick, some of the hilarity, the good news, the great news, the better news than you deserve is that Lindsey Graham, Fancy Dan, has shuffled off his mortal coil to the big gay men's choir in the sky. Holy hell, dude. What a bonus, right? I saw the meme, dude, with Death at the claw machine talking about, come on, Mitch McConnell, come on. Holy shit, Lindsey Graham. So, yeah, Death is stoked. I'm stoked. It's good stuff all around. I guess the dodginess, like even in Death, this guy can't be straightforward. And what his people are putting out is like, oh, yeah, he succumbed early, I don't know what was, I guess early Saturday to an unspecified condition. Like, what does that mean? What are you talking about here? So I heard a couple of takes on this. Like, one, there was a thing from like, NBC has obtained information that a phone call was made regarding an acute heart attack situation. Which, like, hot tip, like the guy, you had a heart attack, can you believe it? This is hot news right here. Like, yeah, the old dudes do that. Old degenerate dudes, old dudes with a penchant for young male prostitutes. They probably have a little bit of a drug habit, and these things happen, right? These things will happen, as they say. I heard one really hot conspiracy-esque take that Lindsey Graham had been visiting a drone factory in Ukraine, and that he allegedly, he got back and he was just fine. But now the hot tip was that shortly after he was, that's the story. Shortly after, and he visited that drone factory, that the Russians destroyed it. And then there's wild speculation then that maybe they just destroyed it with him in it, and it's being covered up because if you admit it, that you knew it, then you kind of have to go to war. But now if you don't, now what? But then I guess it's kind of dishonest, because if you're going to say they killed one of your sitting, they fuck with somebody in your government, well, that's like the royal family, bro, and you have to go to war. Okay, well, I guess this Senator Ro Khanna guy, this guy went to West Bank just to check it out, just to see what's what, and got hemmed up by the IDF, got snatched up by, the story was got snatched up by settlers. So basically, Israelis in the process of invading someone else's house and kicking them out and taking their stuff. Yeah, he got in the middle of that. The ball's on this guy. One, why would you go there anyway? Do you need to go there to know what's going on? I went and I saw it for myself. Dude, who needs to go and see it for yourself? What do you think? It's all fucking made up? But I guess this sort of drives the point home that, can you imagine these fucking grabblers rolling out to your little convoy of rental cars? And well, you can't be here. Someone grab him. Don't let him leave. I can see it. I can totally see it. I believe it happened 1,000% and I also believe it's not going to fucking matter. I think all of the AIPAC employees in Congress are going to be like, "Well, you should have known better. You don't go and mess with people who are fighting for survival." You can't put a price on them. You really cannot. But the other Hebrew related item that I saw that made me laugh was Yair Netanyahu. Benjamin Milikowski, a.k.a. Benjamin Netanyahu's dumbass kid who lives in Miami, has apparently changed his name to something like Jonathan Hahn, some shit like this, which I guess is what his mother's maiden name, something like this, some kind of, or I don't know, like, or maybe it was like his mother's father's, like one of his names that he had used, because you know how these people are with changing their names. I guess your Netanyahu had, I mean, after he was Benjamin Milikowski, which is what he was born as, he was something else while he went to school in the States. And then I don't know if he had a different name besides that. I know he did a little informant work of some type for the U.S. government. And I don't know if he used even yet another name. He probably did for that. But it seems like this is the well that these people always go to. That, like, things get dodgy, I go to what works. And what works is I change my name and I try to move it on down the road. Anyway, so I got a couple items I want to hit on, man. Originally, I only had like one thing I really wanted to beat on. But this time I have, well, as it happens, I noticed something. It kind of reminded me of something else, so I have two. So first, I saw this, like a little post about a kid that was like 23 in Deutschland, some kid working some shitbox job, like a Walmart-looking tip. And kid was 23. But he was only like 5'8", and he had been talking to one of his friends about all of this, like, I'm trying to self-improve, bro, because I can't get a girlfriend, bro. And he was bummed he couldn't get a girlfriend. And eventually just decided that it was not in the cards for him, and it was just too much, and the guy punched his own ticket, which is a fucking shame, man. It is a fucking shame. And I gave this some thought, man, and, once in a while, me and some of the other old dudes, that, like, from the chat, there'll be some posts, and I'll throw it on here, about dealing with women, because, I mean, dude, women are a lot to deal with in any age or situation, a lot to deal with, difficult to handle, now, possibly more than ever, but, I don't know. Maybe there's an angle to be considered here. But I wanted to give 2 cents real quick on this because, honestly, I think that a lot of dudes, especially with this thing of like, oh, bro, I try so hard. Oh, I'm doing this shit. And, no matter what I do, women just don't want me. I think there is a take to be had. So here's kind of the thing. Here's where I'm coming from. So, I'm a little bit of a go boozing enthusiast, and I won't say like just boozing enthusiast because I don't really drink like at the house. Like maybe I whip up a cocktail just to have, like I'm going to make a little something, take the edge off, as they say. But what I don't really do, I don't sit at the house and get fucking plowed. But I don't even do this no more neither. But I did when I had the time and facility to do so. Go out with the boys, go boozing, yuck it up, have a laugh, all this kind of shit. And in the day, I don't even know if people really do this anymore. I mean, I don't know. I can't stay up that late. I watch Matlock and then I fall apart, right? It's fucking late. I'm going to bed. But when I would go boozing, like there was always, no matter where you are. I mean, for a long time, I had like a lot of the world mapped out just in bars. Like, here's a good place. This is a good place. This place is a laugh. A lot of wacky motherfuckers in here, hot girls in here, all this shit, So when you think of, like, what is a good place to go boozing, right, it's never about, and when you talk about, like, people talk real estate, they're talking about location. I will tell you, dude, fucking location has fuck all to do with a good bar, all right? When you're talking about, like, there's this one place, all right, you might have to go through some sketch fuck neighborhood. You might have to go up a back alley. You might have to remember a fucking password. You knock on the thing. If they're full, they tell you to fuck off, but you go here and it's fucking hilarious. Dude, there was one time there was a girl that I grew up with that ended up being a Vegas showgirl for a while. Yes, literally. And somehow, like, as email was yet emerging, where it wasn't like trying to find a literal diplomat, like, dude, I'm just trying to get one of your 5 email addresses. Like, no, people were readily accessible. Like, you could find people you knew, like, on the Facebook and shit. And, like, I knew a guy who knew a guy, you know, I see this girl's, you know, whatever. Hey, you might also know. I'm like, oh, yeah, I do also know. So I had occasion to be going to Vegas for this piece of training. Not in Vegas, but near Vegas, yes. Close enough, right? So I go to Vegas, and I hit this girl up. I was like, hey, I'm going to be in Vegas, man. Let's link up. Let's chat it up. And I'm looking around, and, like, where can I take this broad? You know, what might be cool? And I find this spot, and I don't even know that the place is still there. I think it's still there. But it was a place called the Polo Towers. And it was... not a new place, not a swanky place, like a pretty old place. But it had this bar. There was a bar at the top of the Polo Towers. There was, like, super vintage, super cool looking, kind of away from everything. And the dude that tended the place was this, like, Elvis stunt double, but he was old as fuck. But he still had, like, this dyed, I don't know what you call it, fucking Elvis do, yeah? And people were like, this place is the fucking shit, dude. So I took this broad here. So I got this Vegas showgirl, right, that I'm going to take out, and we're going to go to some fucking place. And at first thought, you know, you might think, like, where do you take a Vegas showgirl? Dude, it's got to be somewhere good. It's got to be flash. It's got to be expensive. It's got to be fucking, you got to show her a good time, bro. We went to the fucking Polo Towers. Kind of at the, I want to say, like, the south end of Vegas. Older place, up at the top, not full, not packed, but you know what? It was the shit. Did it pay off? Ladies and gents, I will say that it did. But what I'm getting at here is that it is not about all of this flash. It is not about any of this shit. It is about the experience. What is the experience? So when you're talking, and I'm circling back to this, so don't fret. But when you're talking about, like, how do I pick out a good bar? Dude, it's not about, is it convenient? Is it right there by the side of the road? Is it clean? Are the cocktails consistent? Are the fucking appetizers delicious? It doesn't fucking matter. Some of the coolest places I've ever been, like places in other countries, third world hellholes, this fucking gem in the middle of nowhere. It's some cool fucking place, and what are the fucking, like, the drinks are watered down, and the snacks are chicken fingers. But this place is fucking famous. It's fucking cool. What a time. So that's what I'm getting at here. When you think of these broads, dude, I saw there's still, like, one of my favorite memes of all time is of that Walt Goggins dude, you know? And he's in that Fallout absolute dog shit show. The show is ass. But the meme is top shelf. So it's got a photo of him as the ghoul, right? This undead motherfucker. And, like, the caption is talking about there are women out here soaking up absolute rape, fantasy, dungeon, porn, novel fiction about the Walt Goggins ghoul character, and you're talking about you're not good looking enough to get a girlfriend. Stop it. Fucking stop it right away. There are dusty Africans with multiple warrants, no job, and a stolen car picking between side pieces talking about, baby, I got to lay low at your place for a little while. The heat is on. The man is after me. I got somewhere to stay. This is a thing, all right? None of this has to do with, like, I got to be qualified. I gotta show her a good time. None of that fucking matters. I think as white men that we tend to approach this thing as like, I'm trying to display quality. I'm trying to display a logical sense of, like, yeah, I'm a solid provider. I'm a solid dude. I'm a good dude. I'm all this shit. I want to be able to tell her you could get whatever you want. We can do whatever you want. None of that matters, dude. She can already do whatever she wants. I don't think women live in the same fucking world that we do. Like, a good-looking woman, like, yeah, their shelf life is pretty fucking short. But for that short shelf life, you can literally show up wherever the fuck you want. You walk into a place and you're like, I might want to work here someday. I'll fire somebody right now just to hire you. Hey, I walked to the front of the line at the hot cock booty shaking club. Oh, right this way, miss. You don't have to wait. Everybody's standing there in line, sees it, knows it. Nobody's going to say shit. Hey, why are you letting that hot girl in? Because shut the fuck up. That's why. They don't live in the same planet you live on. Hey, I want to go to a fucking vacation in the Caribbean. Yeah, hey, you could sit on the front of my yacht. Hey, let's go to Italy. Yeah, I'll pay for your fucking ticket. This is the world they live in. Is it pathetic? Yes. Are you going to change it? No. That's where they fucking live, though. So they already get to do whatever they want, but what they can't do is have an experience. Just like you can make a cocktail at the house, you know, it's a cocktail. You could turn on some fucking tiki music or whatever. It's still not the same experience as this deal over here that you might have to go through a dangerous neighborhood and take an expensive cab ride, all this shit, but you're not paying for the fucking cocktail. You're paying for the real estate. So for my money, that's what you got to fucking be looking at. Like, what am I bringing to the table? In terms of not like I can get a good job, I'm tall, I'm jacked, any of this, but just how fucking cool is it to hang out with you? Are you a fucking drag? Well, let's just fucking say that, dude. I've been to fucking white nationalist gigs where, like, these are dudes that I really fucking dig. They're real fucking cool, but I've gone to these gigs, these get-togethers, and I've been to a couple. I went to one. I was like, this fucking sucks. This is a fucking depressing thing. I feel like I'm in the waiting room at some kind of fucking therapy deal. Motherfuckers are down in the mouth. Everybody's in here thinking. Hey, stop with the fucking thinking. If we're going to hang out, let's fucking hang out. You guys got a fucking stack of fucking beers. Let's get these things knocked down and start talking some shit. Yes? But I think that's, honestly, it's a simple way ahead, man. And for, there's a couple of dudes that had experience with the pickup scene. And again, dude, I can never remember who the fuck is who. You know, when I'm talking about this shit, but there's some of the dudes in the chat that, like, they had a lot of experience, way more than I did. And I think they'll agree that at the end of the day, all it comes down to is this broad having fun. And I mean, does that sound tedious and aggravating? Yes, it does. But remember, you're trying to get an in-demand woman to get naked with you and give you a piece of pretty much the only thing that makes her valuable. So if you want to do that, you're going to have to give her something she wants, even if you think it's fucking stupid. But all it is it fun? Is it an experience? Is it cool? So when you see a woman with some fucking felon and you're like, how the fuck? Because that guy probably knows people. That guy is probably bringing her to, like, holy shit, this was the coolest fucking party I ever been to. Holy fuck, I met this guy that is on the run from the law, pulled up in a stolen Trans Am. Is that dodgy? Is that something to build a life on? No, but she can do that later. That's what she's heard her whole life. You can do that shit when you're 35. Get a guy with a stable job when you're 35. Don't do it fucking today. So she's not doing it today. So if you're in this fucking spot, just fucking think about it, man. That, like, what kind of bar are you? What kind of bar are you? Are you the sensible bar around the corner where you can duck in for a reasonably priced drink and friendly service? Or are you the bar at the edge of town that people talk about when they get back from, holy fuck, you won't believe what I just did? Think about it. It's just a thought. Anyway, all right, so check this shit out. So I heard a talk from Jonathan Greenblatt, not the whole thing because I can only listen to so much from that fucking guy. But I listened to this thing from Jonathan Greenblatt, and the guy is talking about, you know, the age-old thing of, like, well, we're just a tiny little country. How could we ever, you know, the things you accuse us of, we're only 2% of the U.S. population, and you accuse us of that. So they're always wheeling this thing out, that they're, you know, it's one of their favorite things to wheel out, one of the wells they always go to, that we're just this tiny population. How could we possibly be responsible for this, and this? And this rang a bell to me, and it's not like I haven't heard this argument before, but for some reason I heard it this time, and it just reminded me of something that I had heard of before. And it's what I'm referring to here is something that is more recently known as the werewolf game, and more historically known as the Hitman game. So the Hitman game, this was something developed and speculated on by a Russian, I guess, like social scientist type dude named Dmitry Davidov in 1986. And the concept of the Hitman game, so Hitman game, werewolf game, pretty much interchangeable. I'll explain the idea of this here, and then we'll get into this. So the idea of this is like a party game, like the old school, cocktail party game. Let's get together and we'll play a game. So the idea here is everybody's sitting in a circle, and you got, something to cover your eyes with, like a bag to put over your head or some kind of a thing, because people can't be trusted to shut their eyes. Dishonest motherfuckers in here. But everybody sits in a circle, and now there's somebody that's going to be like the minder, like the person that's running this caper. They're going to designate a very small percentage, like 2%, right? A very small percentage of this group that's going to be the hitman group. All right. And they're going to all know. So maybe like write it down, and then they're going to write down these roles. So say you got 10 people, and we're going to make like 2 people are going to be the hitmen. And I realize this is 20%, not 2%, but just fucking work with me here. Anyway, so they're going to put like 2 people as the hitmen. They're going to write this shit down. Everybody else is going to be like random citizen, or like villager, if we're playing a werewolf game. And then 2 people are going to be the werewolf. And now they're going to write it down, put it in everybody's hand. Everybody's going to look very secretly. They're going to write down, like, if you're the werewolf or the hitman, it's going to be you and, Coffee. So you and Coffee, you're the fucking werewolves. All right? So you know who each other are. And now this goes in like a day and night cycle. The villagers only know that they look and they see villager. I'm just a villager. All right? So now this day and night cycle thing, you put your hood down over your head, and now the werewolves or the hitman, they lift theirs up a little bit, and they look at each other, and they both agree, and they point to somebody, and they let the minder know who they're pointing at, like, hey, we're pointing at that guy right there. They don't say anything. But now when the minder goes, yeah, okay, I understand, put their hoods down, they sit there a little bit, and now the minder says, okay, it's morning now, and everybody lifts their hood up, and the minder goes, you guy that they had pointed at, you died last night, you got killed by werewolves. So now the guy lays there, and now the job of everybody else is they got to look around. They sit and they look, and they try to figure out who are the werewolves. So the trick here then, like when I read about this, and I thought like, well, so what? It's like you walk around at the party. Do they announce this, or like what goes on here? No, the gig is you just sit there. You just fucking sit there and you look. And you're trying to figure out like who is the werewolf. And it's a study in a couple of things here. So everything is in play, man. If you hear somebody next to you and you think you hear them lifting their hood up, or you hear them like whispering or some shit, maybe that's a clue. If you're sitting there and somebody next to you drops dead, and you're a villager, you're going to be like, holy shit. But maybe the guy right across from you is like he doesn't flinch. That could be a tip. Maybe you and the other villagers start talking about, all right, man, I think I heard this guy, like he was moving around a lot, and he's like, he never seems surprised when somebody dies, so I think maybe this guy over here, I think he might be one of the werewolves. So this is another tip. Like you could start looking at these things, like what do people do when they're in on something? So kind of the trick here, though, is the difference in perspective between your villager and your werewolf. So say you had like 20 people in this circle, you got 3 or 4 werewolves. The villagers, all they know for sure is that there are werewolves. And they only know that because that's what the game is. You just look at people, you can't tell who is the werewolf and who isn't. You only know, as a villager, all you know is that you are not the werewolf. All these other people sitting around you, any of them could be the werewolf. Or a werewolf, you wouldn't fucking know. And they'll all tell you, they're like, no, it's not me, dude. No, I'm just like you. I'm a villager like you. They'll all fucking say this. So you have absolutely no idea. The only person you can be sure of is yourself. On the opposite hand, you have the werewolves. The werewolves, they know who all the villagers are, and they know who the other werewolves are. So all they really have to do is complicate your efforts in order to make this impossible for you to win. So the object of this game then, for the werewolves, the object of the game is to kill off enough people where you reach parity, is what they say. Where basically you have as many werewolves as you have people, at which case the villagers are not going to be able to banish people fast enough to get rid of all the werewolves, right? They're going to kill off one person every night until all that remains is werewolves. For the villagers, then, the idea then is you want to get rid of all these werewolves, think through this thing, what have you seen so far, what are the patterns you're noticing, and then talk it out as best you can with people you think are probably not werewolves, and then banish all of them. So that's the idea here. But what this guy is talking about is that the werewolf side, even though they are numerically inferior, because they know who each other are, they have a significant advantage. They can count on more people than just themselves. And by complicating your efforts, by making it impossible for you to figure this thing out, all they got to do really is throw in a little confusion, and they've got a huge advantage. Whereas you got to figure out if this is just somebody trying to figure out a different way than you are, or if this is actually a werewolf trying to fuck your efforts up. So what one of the papers I read was talking about is that the werewolf strategy, once the discussion begins, is that you're going to wait if it looks like they're starting to figure out something that, they're starting to figure out, like one of the actual werewolves. No, man, throw a wrench in that. Like, well, yeah, that it might be him, maybe, but I feel definitely sure it's that guy over there, this villager type. Yeah, it's definitely him. I don't know about this guy, but definitely that guy. I mean, you would do what you want, but I'm just saying. And at the same time, a huge advantage, probably the best case scenario, is if you could imagine, like, all right, somebody's going to take charge of this thing. We're going to get this figured out. If you can move into a position where you're a werewolf, but you're kind of leading the search, where you're like, all right, enough of this. I'm going to take charge of this. We're going to get to the bottom of this. Now, I know for sure that I heard that guy right there. He was moving around. I heard him whispering. I'm right next to him. Now, if you can move yourself into this position, you're sitting real nice. So now compare this to what we see with these tiny hats. What do? One of their key strengths is that we never know who the fuck they are. They look like us. They talk like us. They change their names so we think they're one of us, but in reality, they're not. And even once we start noticing that, like, hey, I think this guy over here, he might be up to no good. What do immediately? They start throwing monkey wrenches into your process of like, well, no, look, I mean, maybe that's a problem, but the real problem, it's this over here, not what you're talking about. Why are we wasting time on this? Why are we doing this? What we really need to work on is this thing. This guy over here, he's the real issue. You guys are talking about, sending foreign aid and fighting foreign battles and all this kind of shit. Oh, that's well and good. But I mean, what about Candace Owens, bro? Oh, man, what about these guys on a train with Matt? Those guys are probably feds. That's what you should be worried about. What about Muslims, bro? That's what, and not to say none of these things are problems, but what is the bigger problem here? So looking at it from that perspective, I think we can draw a very definite parallel to this werewolf strategy and what we're seeing here. So to say that, like, oh, it's only 2%, bro. So I'm kind of coming to that as well because 2% is definitely a far cry from like 10% or 20%. But looking at this then from the perspective of all they really got to do is keep doing what they're doing, but throw monkey wrenches into your efforts. Things like this Patriot Front thing, I think this is the perfect fucking example. Alls I've seen, and I mean, I've heard a dude talking about like, yeah, bro, they want your social, they want this, they want that. Would I be cool with that? No, I probably wouldn't. Does that mean they're feds? No, it absolutely does not. So when I hear this talk of like, bro, these are feds, these are definitely feds. And if you don't think they're feds, if you're this stupid, then fuck you, dude. I don't want anything to do with you. You should walk into traffic, bro. You're just too stupid. Well, slow the fuck down, guy. Slow the fuck down. What are you trying to sell me over here? How did this all of a sudden become a sticking point? So I think when we hear things like this, one, I think we got to look at this from the werewolf villager perspective of like, as long as we're making something that looks like progress, as long as we're figuring out consistent information, recognizing consistent patterns, this is a pathway to winning. When we get into this thing of what are we fighting about? We're fighting about fucking whether or not this guy in a mask, because he's wearing a mask, that suddenly makes him a fucking fed. And you want to really go toe-to-toe over this thing. That, to me, is highly, highly, highly suspect. Because at the end of the day, what is the only thing that really matters is getting these motherfuckers out of here. And I mean that in both senses. If we're talking about the werewolf game, what is the only thing that matters? Banishing these motherfuckers from the village. If we're talking about real life, what are we talking about? The only thing that matters is naming these motherfuckers and getting them out of our society. Disempowering them to fuck up our society. But when you talk about like only 2%, there is something to address there because it is only 2%. So how at only 2% is this possible? Well, just like we see with your, what's that idiot's name? Yair Netanyahu, they have very well-established methods, very tried and true tactics that they have been running for thousands of years. Like, don't get that shit twisted, dude. I mean, you look at a game like American football, does it look the same to you now as it did in the 80s or the 60s or the whatever, early 1900s with dudes with little leather helmets? No. Even that game has evolved considerably, and that's only over the course of less than 100 years. Now, you look at the way that these people wreck nations, the way that these people bleed countries dry, bleed them dry, leave them to twist, and move on down the road. They have been running this same very well-refined racket for thousands of years. Not hundreds, thousands of years they've been running this same game. They're very fucking good at it. So they know to change their name before you even start thinking about, well, hey, I think there's a problem here. Well, I think there's a problem with you. What, are you crazy? You think just 2% of this population is doing all this? But still, it begs the question, how can only 2% get the kind of results that they get? Well, what if we look at it a different way? Instead of looking at it as it's only 2% of a nation of several hundred million, what if we were only looking at it as, what if it was 20% of a much, much smaller group? So if there was a way to push aside a huge swath of that much larger group, if there was a way to say, oh, those people over there, they don't count. Those people over there, those people are fucking nuts. Those people over there, they got no reason to have any say in this conversation. What if that was possible? Well, is that not what they do? Because who in this nation is absolutely unable to have any kind of input? How about straight white men? Oh, you're a fucking colonizer. Oh, you fucking exploit. Oh, you're privileged. Oh, you're this. So white men, right off the bat, anything you say is like 3/5 of an opinion. What about white women? Oh, you're just a fucking Karen. You're just in here complaining because complain is what you do. Okay, there's a little bit more off the table. What about blacks? Oh, you're naturally stupid. And hey, maybe they are, but this is what they're pushing. Hey, you're so fucking stupid. You need help to do everything. Otherwise, you can't do it for yourself. What about Asians? Oh, you're insular. You're fucking just your small in-group unto yourself. And you're plenty capable. You're fine. Just keep your nose out of it. Get back to work. Go be hardworking like you are. So in this way, not everybody is going to buy that argument and say, yeah, well, wait, I still want to deal with you. A lot of those groups are going to say, like, yeah, you're right. I'll just step to the side and let it happen. So now it's not 2% anymore. It's a much, much larger percent that they're fighting against. So in this case, you're not 2%. You're a lot closer to like that 20% where it almost becomes easy. Yeah, I don't have to fight, 300 million people. I only got to fight like 100 million people. And now the people that are in the game, if they can talk them into fighting each other, like, because some people are completely checked out. Boomers just want to grill, right? Women just want to go to the club. Some men I just want to go I want to go get pretty. I'm trying to get down to 10 fucking percent or whatever, and that's all I care about in all of my life. That's it. And then I want to take pictures of myself like I'm a fucking teenage girl. That's it. So if we can get those people completely off the table, the only people that are left in the game, if we can get them to fight each other, and where do we see that? We're fighting over fucking Candace fucking Owens? I think not. We're fighting over fucking Patriot Front, who, by every measure, is making the tiny hat nervous. And yet we're going to stand here and have this conversation about, I think these might be fucking bad guys. We might need to disavow them. Might need to keep our distance. Fucking why? I mean, maybe you do, but if you do, then at least make them prove it to you that, like, yeah, these people can't be fucking trusted because of this. Let them give you a good fucking reason. Otherwise, leave it the fuck alone. So with that, man, I got to cut it short today, dude. I got to get in here and let Shaniqua hassle me. It's dark early, and I'm not really having it. But I guess what I'm hoping for, though, is moving ahead. I know Mitch McConnell was in the hospital, and I saw this fake me out proof of life picture, and people are saying that he looks a whole lot younger, looks conspicuously younger in the picture you're offering than he did the last time anybody saw him. But they're saying that he just took a nasty fall. But apparently when he fell down, his old lady hauled ass to China. Hauled ass to China. And now they're saying she's back. But who really knows for sure? So I'm hoping, dude, I'm fine with getting news cucked if it means one less ally supporter, in the lineup. So maybe by the time we get around for 176, that cat will be off his mortal coil as well. But until then, man, if you dig this crummy content, you can find it anywhere crummy content is purveyed. I want to encourage you to get on the Telegram, and just leave a comment, and that'll lead you to the chat. It's a real good scene. T.me/The Abuse Hour to get to the Telegram scene. But in any case, until we meet again, keep your eyes on the horizon and keep your neck out of the noose. I have been Coffee. These are my takes.